Hello everyone, welcome back. 2 years ago I uploaded the ultimate guitar shape tier list. This was a tier list where I took 25 guitars and I ranked them here. Now when I uploaded it, it did relatively well for the size of my channel, but then a month ago YouTube took it and the video has now exploded. It's pretty neat, so I'm very grateful. I don't know what I did, but yeah, it's been pushed out to loads more people, and in a shameless attempt to ride this newfound momentum, I'm going to revisit the list today. Because 2 years is a long time, I've grown a bit older, and my tastes have matured slightly, and some of the shapes that I was particularly critical of, I've actually warmed to. So yeah, before I write any more sequels, I'm going to revisit the original list, update it, and then we'll take it from there. If you want to join in as I do this, then I'll leave the link for the tier list that I made back in the day in the description to this video, so play along if you want. But other than that, let us begin. Hello everyone, welcome back. Oh gosh. Okay, first things first. That was a look. In my defense, it was 2021. Lockdown had only recently ended at the time, I believe, and I hadn't really had the chance to get a proper haircut, so I was just doing the best I could with what I had. Gosh. We're going to use the same rankings today because it makes sense, and then for any future videos I will also continue using the same ranking. It makes sense. Keeps this nice and scientific. Without further ado, let us begin. If you know where that sound effect is from, you have a great taste in video games. Alright, what have we got here first? Well, number one, we've got the Stratocaster. Fine. If I asked you to picture an electric guitar, chances are you're probably thinking of one of these. I stand by that argument. They're a timeless design. It's solid. There's, you can't go far wrong with one of these. I think the one thing I'd say is default skin.
Hello there.
Yeah, oh gosh, that's a horrible freeze. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, it could be seen as a bit of a default skin kind of energy that the Stratocaster gives off, but I stand by what I said. I think it's a really solid shape, it's timeless, it's iconic, and I don't think it needs to move from great tier. Well, once I find it, there it is. Alright, and what have we got next? We've got a Les Paul. I'm going to pause here. I got quite a bit of grief from how I ranked the Les Paul, and I need to justify it a bit. If you consider the time, 2021, this was around the time that Gibson came under fire for having some rather interesting idea of quality control, and I think that was playing in the back of my mind, which led to me judging this slightly harsher than I possibly should have done. However, if you compare it to the Stratocaster, this guitar is equally as iconic looking, and so I think I was doing it a disservice putting it in solid tier, so I'm more than happy today to upgrade this to where it should be, which is great tier, I think. Okay, number three, here we are. We've got the we've got the Mustang. Fine. This is the first of a few guitars on this list that are named after classic American cars. Kind of a pointless thing to say, but yeah, I did find that interesting. Look, it's a solid design. It clearly takes a lot of inspiration from the Strat, but it's a bit wide. Someone pointed out that it's probably not wide, it's more long and thin, and yeah, I kind of agree actually. Yeah, I think I'm being a bit harsh, but I don't think this guitar needs to move places. I'm fairly sure I put it in solid tier. I think that's a good place for it. Whoa, not there. Oh, we've got number four. This is the Telecaster. This is the Strat's cooler cousin. I'm going to pause it there. Yeah, some people very correctly pointed out that this is a very strange picture to use for a Telecaster. When I was collecting all the photos and sound effects and stuff, I didn't stop to check that the shape, or rather the guitar, was correct. I mean, the shape-wise, it's fine, but the hardware is that of a Stratocaster, and it does look very strange. Yeah, so that's on me, sorry guys. But I sort of hoped that the Telecaster I showed, that the one I own, makes up for that. But what I say here, I still stand by. I think it's a fantastic looking guitar, and yeah, it's going to be our first entry into God tier all these years later as well. Okay, number five, here we are. This is the ES series. Look, when I prepared this list, I showed the list to my housemate who doesn't play guitar to get like a sort of a neutral opinion, and the first thing he said about this one was, well, it feels like every rock band's got one of these. This actually happened. Yeah, that's basically what my housemate said, and I still really like this guitar. I think it looks great. I prefer it in gloss black, and I wish I'd used the photo like that, but I think these things are super versatile. You find them in all sorts. Obviously, there is a bit of inspiration taken from sort of the jazz side of things, and many of you have predicted that I'm a jazz instrumentalist. I'm not, but I do have history playing jazz because before I played the guitar, I'm a saxophonist. So yeah, I found myself in jazz bands. That's probably where my taste has evolved from. So fair play. I think this is still a great looking guitar. I think I mentioned that Dave Grohl has one. I think that's kind of inaccurate because he actually has a signature version of this, so it looks a bit different, but either way, I think these are great looking guitars. Yeah, it can stay in great tier, I think. Number 6. Yeah, I'd understand if you're thinking, hold on a minute, Stephen, we've already ranked this one. Right, pausing there. This is one of the rankings that I feel was more harsh than it needed to be, and for a couple of reasons. First, I mean, I think a lot of these guitars got lower rankings because it's easier to be a critic. It's easier to drag things through the dirt than it is to praise it. And also the second thing, I sound like I'm a massive hypocrite because I actually own one of these, and I think I mentioned it in the video. I don't think they make them anymore, but I have an Ibanez ARZ 700 at home, and I think it's a fantastic guitar. It got me playing more heavy stuff back in the day, so those of you who think I'm not into metal, unfortunately, I'm going to have to correct you there. I love metal, that sort of genre. Even though my taste in guitars doesn't really reflect my music taste, I do really enjoy that sort of music. Given that I've upgraded the Les Paul, I think I'm going to upgrade the Eclipse as well. I think it's a really clean looking guitar, and it's an edgy take on the Les Paul, but I don't think it's completely soulless. I think I worded this poorly. You know, if I had to choose between this and the Les Paul, I'm going for the Les Paul. Well, I've just contradicted myself because I have an Eclipse and I don't have a Les Paul. And I sound harsh, I actually own one of these. See? God, my past self was an idiot. Yeah, hardware-wise, these things are pretty great, but we're going on shape here, and this guitar looks quite soulless, so it's going to sit in distinctly average for me. No, it's not. It's going in solid tier. Okay, we're on to number 7. This is the Jazzmaster. It's a nice little wild card choice. You know, I was just trying to find the word tangent or something along those lines. It's just a bit different from the general Les Paul, Strat, Telly, SG combo that people tend to go for. It's a nice little wild card, but I just waffle. Right, okay, this is the 8th entry here. This is the SG. This is a weird one for me. I'm going to pause them there. Yeah, I got quite a bit of flack for where I ranked the SG. And yeah, this is one of the shapes on this tier list that now I'm revisiting it, I've warmed to slightly. I was even trying to be nice because I picked an SG photo that has my favourite finish, this Olympic white colour. I think it looks stunning. I'm not so much of a fan of the triple humbucker setup, but again, this is based on shape, not hardware, so that shouldn't really play a part in my ranking. Yeah, I kind of like this guitar more than I did 2 years ago. I do stand by my argument. I do think the body's a little small for what it is, but it certainly has its place in the guitar scene, absolutely, obviously. Yeah, it's going to rank higher than I did 2 years ago. It's just all out of proportion with itself. I mean, if you have one, then I guess, does AC/DC mean anything to you? It probably does. But yeah, I have no idea why I used a Scooby-Doo sound effect there. I can't remember. Look, the design, I know the heritage behind it. It's a classic look, but it doesn't sit right with me. So to distinctly average it goes. Nope, it's going a solid tier, thank you. Alright, number 9. This is probably going to make me a few enemies after what I've just done to the SG. This is the Firebird. I stand with everything I said 2 years ago. I still love the Firebird shape. It's outlandish, but in a classy way. I think it's also timeless. It's so cool, and I'd love to own one day. I probably wouldn't opt for it in this colour. I really like the Olympic white or like duck egg blue finishes you can get it in, but I feel like you need to pay extra for that. But yeah, man, this is such a cool looking guitar, and yeah, I think this is going in great tier in the original. It's going in great tier today. Right, okay, number 10. Oh. Well, on the flip side, however, this guitar, the Explorer, yeah, no, it's trying too hard. Okay, I'm going to pause him there. This is another guitar that I was way too harsh on, just because I wanted people to get angry with me. You know, it's the YouTuber tactic of being controversial and get people talking and angry at you in the comments, and I think this is a really rubbish attempt at that. I think over the last 2 years I've grown to appreciate and respect this shape way more. I think it is really clean. especially in this gloss black finish. I think the more outlandish shapes look fantastic in gloss black, or like a simple colour, because you don't really want it being too busy with like an outlandish colour as well. I think this looks stunning, especially with the gold hardware as well. I mean, that shouldn't influence it, but yeah, I've grown to like these, and I hear from, you know, reliable sources that these are quite comfortable to play as well. So yeah, for that, this is definitely getting an upgrade.
Probably does. It's strange. It's all really spiky in the body, and then the headstock really isn't.
I'm not that bothered anymore. I think it looks great.
Doesn't work for me. Not for me, mate. Yeah, distinctly average it goes.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's going into solid tier. I think it's a decent looking guitar. I've just realised, I mean, we're 6 minutes in, and our tier list is looking really rather more positive. We haven't had something in distinctly average yet, so let's see where this goes.
Number 11. Okay, this is the Super Strat. Yeah, look, I've mentioned before that the Strat shape is it's a timeless classic.
I don't know why I'm upside down. I'm just going to pause in there. Yeah, I think I was being a bit harsh. Again, I mean, I was quite harsh on many of these guitar shapes 2 years ago, just for the sake of getting clicks and stuff. But I own 2 Super Strats. My first guitar was an Ibanez GRG 170DX, and yes, I did memorise that in the days leading up to me collecting it. I was so excited, and that guitar is so solid. I loved it. I still have it. It's behind me. And then since this video as well, I got my hands on an Ibanez 7-string, which again is another Super Strat. I think it's a really great modern take on a Strat shape, and given how timeless the Strat shape is, I think this one, in a way, does it even better. So, controversially, I think, this is going to be an entry to God tier, I think. Let's have it.
Right, here we are, number 12. This is the Flying V. Yeah, I'll level with you guys. I don't like this thing at all.
Okay. Yeah, this is another guitar that got me quite a bit of grief from how I spoke about it. Again, a bit like the Explorer, times have changed. I've grown up and I respect this shape now. I don't think I'd ever own one, and there are certainly better looking Flying Vs than others, but overall, I think this doesn't deserve the grief I gave it back in the day, you know?
Aside from the hardware issues, which shouldn't really influence it.
No, it shouldn't.
But yeah, no, I hate this shape. It's going in subpar.
No, it's not. No. I think I prefer the Explorer to the Flying V, so I'm happy for this one to go into distinctly average.
Number 13, alright, okay. This is the PRS. This is in...
Well, I'm going to pause there because I'm not going to blow PRS's trumpet any more than I already have. Yes, I own one. Yes, I think this is a great shape. Of course, this is going in God tier. Yeah, I think it's just a stunning looking shape. It's a nice take on what the Stratocaster started, you know. Yeah, it's going in God tier. Let's see what I have to say about it.
In particular, I believe it's the Custom 22 shape.
Yep, it is. I checked.
Look, this design's been around for ages. In fact, I think this is probably one of their first designs.
I didn't check that. I could be wrong.
Oh dear. What a fall from grace. This is number 14, and I'm beginning to sense a downhill spiral here. This is the Warlock.
Okay. I know there have been some guitars in this shape that since the original upload I have been kinder to. I still struggle with the Warlock. I think I mentioned that it looks like something out of Guitar Hero, and I think that is true. I think Guitar Hero do use this shape. I had a couple of comments asking if I have anything against BC Rich. I don't, honestly. It's just the guitars they make are not my cup of tea at all. I think this fits brilliantly in the heavy metal genre, obviously, but it's not to my taste. If I was in a band like this, I would not opt for this at all. It wouldn't be on my list. It just looks more like a toy than it does an instrument, in my opinion. You can get much cleaner looking guitars for your heavy metal band. So yeah, I'm fairly sure I'm going to stand with almost everything I said 2 years ago.
There's no excuse to be buying guitars that look like this in 2021, and yeah, you wouldn't find me playing Wonderwall on it anytime soon. So Wonderwall tier it goes.
Yeah, it's going to stay in Wonderwall tier. I'm not a fan of this shape at all.
Oh boy, this is the Mockingbird. Yeah, it's rough. This thing looks like it's been out in the sun and it's melted a bit.
I agree. Again, my opinion on this guitar hasn't really changed.
Yeah, look, when I showed this guitar to my housemate, he said it looked like a sex toy.
This happened.
And the moment he said that, I can't unsee it. And yeah, that's pretty damning if you ask me.
I'd say so.
And perfectly justifiable for being placed in subpar. Yeah, Mockingbird, more like mocking turd.
Okay, that was lazy, but yeah, it's going in subpar.
Okay, number 16, here we are. Yeah, this is the Cadillac, and I hope we can learn an important lesson here, that just because you name a guitar after a classic American car doesn't make it any good. You know.
Okay, I'm being way too harsh here, and I'm going to, write the record. I kind of like this guitar now. Looking at the body especially, I kind of like what they did with it. Again, it's following the same thing that I said earlier. Gloss black, outrageous looking guitars tend to look great. And this is no exception. This looks fantastic. I don't think it's like quite touching the likes of, you know, Les Pauls and Stratocasters, but I don't think it's a bad looking guitar. I also need to address this personal vendetta I've got against the Flying V shape. I mentioned it a fair few times in this video. It's just a Dean headstock. I know that's like their general looking one. I just don't really like it, but I think I was just being harsh and, you know, just being a mean old critic for critique's sake.
First of all, why you saw the need to throw a mini Flying V on as...
That's a Dean headstock, you idiot.
The headstock is beyond me. Yeah, it's just horrible. I like the commitment to the bottom spike, that's pretty out there, but what happened at the top?
Lesson learned. Guitars don't need to be symmetrical. I actually kind of like this shape quite a bit.
I feel like you ran out of wood or something?
That's a lazy joke.
It just doesn't look finished, and, you know, out of spite of it reminding me of the Flying V.
That is a stupid justification.
Yeah, it's going to go in subpar as well.
No, I am more than happy for that to go in distinctly average now.
Oh boy, here we are. This is number 17, this is the ML series, and...
Oh boy, yeah, this one got me a fair amount of grief. I think I imply in this video that, you know, you have to be a certain sort of someone to make this guitar work, and obviously you've got
Dimebag Darrell
signature model here. It is an outlandish shape. I don't like it still, but I can't ignore just how iconic it is.
And yeah, look, I understand the heritage of this guitar, and I also completely appreciate that there is a very famous guitarist that had one of these.
Fun fact, I forgot his name at the time of filming, so I just implied him instead.
And it is well loved and well respected. And you know, when they were playing it, it was fine. But shape-wise, this thing is atrocious.
That's just harsh.
Why on earth would you buy this? This is like a weird starfish that's missing 2 legs.
And that's just rude.
I hate it. I'm struggling to think of a reason why you'd buy one of these. Maybe if you're stuck in the 80s?
Funnily enough, someone said that I dress like I'm from the 80s, so yeah, I guess this insult fell a bit flat here. I defeated myself in my own frustration.
And yeah, if you are stuck in the 80s, please kindly stay there and take your weird starfish thing with you.
It's, again, just rude.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to play Wonderwall on this thing.
I'm happy for this to go in subpar. It's not my cup of tea, but yeah, I think I was being really harsh here.
Okay, number 18. This is the Electromatic from Gretsch. Finally, a normal looking guitar.
That's a lazy Gordon Ramsay reference.
Yeah, it looks like an inflated Les Paul, which isn't a bad thing, and it's got the decoration, the classic look of the ES series, which again isn't a bad thing. It's not, you know, the most outlandish, and
yeah, and that's where I'm going to stop even there. I think this is one of the guitars that's actually going to go down on my tier list. I think I was being way too positive about this guitar, given other guitars that we've got on this list. Yeah, it looks okay. It looks pretty solid, but I think where I ended up was way too high. I think this is an average-looking guitar. It's certainly got, you know, nods to jazz and stuff and like classical stuff, and I do like that. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't think it needs to be in solid or great tier, you know.
Design's been done before, but it's not bad. It's a classic take on a classic shape.
I remember being very happy with that quote.
And for that reason, yeah, it's going in solid tier.
Too jazzy?
Yeah. And then I put it in great tier. Great. Well done me editing this. Yeah, this is going distinctly average.
Right, number 19. Let's see what we've got. Right, who made this? What is this?
Again, another tier 2 reference, and yeah, my opinions on this guitar have not changed.
Was this a joke? This is the split tail, apparently.
Yes, it is.
And I have no idea why they combined half a Flying V with half an SG.
Yep, I don't know why they did that either. I just don't think the two ideas marry well together at all. Yeah, I can also see a Floyd Rose, but no, I'm better than I was 2 years ago. I'm not letting that influence the ranking. We're just going on shape here.
And then stuck a mini Flying V on as the headstock.
It's the Dean headstock, man. Come on, it's not a Flying V.
I hate it.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is horrible. Why on earth would you buy this?
True.
There's nothing redeemable about this guitar, so it's going to get its own poo tier to sit in, and it can go there and think about what it's done.
Fair play. It's doing the same now.
Unacceptable!
Number 20, alright. This is the Iceman by Ibanez. Look, I think this guitar had some real potential to look really unique, and I suppose in that aspect it did succeed.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think it's another guitar here that I've definitely warmed to. It had the courage to try something different, and I think it tastefully did it. I think I'm just being way too harsh.
But what possessed Ibanez to put a penis on it?
Okay, visually, I think that's one of my favourite gags in this video, but that aside, someone did comment saying that that bottom spike reminds them of a paintbrush rather than, you know, that. And yeah, in a way, I think I agree with him. It's a decent interpretation of what they were planning there. Overall, again, I kind of like it. Maybe it's the gloss black. I don't know, it could be the gloss black, but I think this shape is kind of cool. It definitely doesn't deserve the hate that I gave it 2 years ago, so yeah. I'm very happy that I'm doing this video because I'm retconning all the dumb decisions I made when I made this video. Yeah.
Am I the only one who sees that? How did that make it past quality control?
That's not their job.
Thanks to that, the Wangcaster is going in, yeah, it can sit in subpar.
And there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hello?
No, I think that's harsh. I'm happy for that to sit in distinctly average. Yeah, absolutely.
This is the Revstar. Yeah, I don't mind this design. It feels like it looks like a melted SG.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
But it works.
Yeah, it does. I'm going to pause myself here because, yeah, there's not really much to say about this guitar. I think it's a decent looking guitar. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's somewhere in the middle. To average it goes.
Okay, number 22, here we are. This is the Majesty Ernie Ball. Yeah, this is a pretty wild looking guitar.
It is.
Fairly modern looking. Yeah, weirdly, I was curious with this guitar because I normally only see YouTubers or guitar veterans playing this. And
that's still the case.
I had a look, and yeah, this thing costs the same as a car, so that's probably why.
Yep.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
That was a dated reference when I made this video.
The shape's a bit out there for me. The top horn just throws me off. The rest of it's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, look, I'll give them credit for trying to be different, but that combined with the price tag, yeah, it can sit in average.
That was cheeky of me. The price has nothing to do with this. I prefer the likes of the Iceman and the Cadillac over the Majesty. So yeah, I think it's going to go down to subpar, you know.
Oh boy, this is number 23. This is the Parker Fly from Parker Guitars. Heard of them? I hadn't.
That's just rude. Sorry.
Okay, I'll preface this by saying that there is a particular guitar with a handle built in. Looking at you, Steve Vai, and
What is this edit? I'm so sorry.
it feels like you had some extra wood and you just bolted it onto the top.
That's a stupid and lazy joke. So sorry.
It just looks wrong. It looks out of place.
I agree with that bit though. It doesn't look right.
And you know, and that combined with some many more fundamental reasons, I'm sure, is probably why we don't see too many of these.
God, I'm just so rude. I'm so sorry. I'm sure Parker Fly guitars are fine, and to be fair, I had a handful of comments saying that they're quite comfortable to play, but my goodness, I think I just ran out of things to say about this shape, so I'm just going after the business rather than the shape. Wow, this is just lazy.
In fact, I don't think I've seen one of these in real life.
Yeah, I still haven't.
Yeah, I'm not playing Wonderwall on this thing.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
If you know where that quote's from, then nice, you've got good taste in films. Yeah, I'm happy for the Parker Fly to stay there. My opinion hasn't really changed. I just want to retcon and say sorry for, you know, just being really insulting to the company.
Okay, number 24. We've got a headless guitar. You know, out of all of them that I could have picked, I picked a Goliath
Yeah. Decent looking guitar.
by Ormsby Guitars, and oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here.
There really isn't.
Look, I think headless guitars, you know, as a concept, not sure. Feels like you've solved a problem that precisely no one had. I guess they're easier to travel with.
Basically, I actually quite like headless guitars. Since I made this video, I've gained an appreciation for them. I think some of them look fantastic. I think one notable example I'm thinking of is Pliny's headless guitar. I think that looks stunning. Yeah, it's modern. They're way easier to transport. Apparently they're really comfortable to play, and in the long run, I'd love to own one day.
I don't know if they're any more comfortable to play.
They are.
I'm not sure. I mean, this one certainly doesn't look it. There's an awful lot going on with this shape. I feel the purple colour is throwing me off here because I feel like it's fallen out of a Halo game.
It's just lazy writing here.
But yeah, there's just so much going on here, and I'm not sure I like it. But I sort of respect the ballsiness for trying to be different. So yeah, it can go an average for me.
How can you be nearly headless?
Like this.
I'm going to upgrade this to Great Tier. I think they have a well-established place in guitar culture. I think they're great. So yeah, they can sit in Great Tier.
Okay. Finally, this is the last guitar on this list, you'll be pleased to know. This is the 300 series from Rickenbacker. Look, I'm probably going to make a lot of enemies from my decision here, and yeah, I know. I'm aware of the heritage of this guitar. I know that the Beatles had them.
Oh, come on. So lazy. Good grief, what is this edit?
I know they've been around for ages. I know Scott Pilgrim
That's even worse. Dear oh dear.
had a bass made by Rickenbacker. Something just doesn't feel right with this guitar though. It's just out of proportion. I'm not a fan of the nylon acoustic headstock that it's got.
Good of me to show you that to you. Yeah, but it has a nylon acoustic guitar headstock and I don't like it. I do stand by that.
And the body's just massive.
Yeah, it is.
Why is it that big? Why? The proportions are all off. It looks like a jazzy Pac-Man.
Okay, yeah, I do still see that. Fair enough.
And not in a good way. I can't imagine this thing is very comfortable to play.
Anyone want to weigh in here?
And, you know, it's not for me. It can go in average though. I'll let you have it in average.
Yeah, it can stay in average. I'm going to pause him there. We're done. This is what the new, revisited 2023 tier list looks like. And I think this is far more accurate in terms of what my thoughts on guitar shapes are nowadays. I felt like I had to do this video before I made any sort of sequels because, you know, as time passes, tastes grow, and I think if you're not prepared to change your opinions, then you've sort of lost the point of developing as a person. And you can apply that to all sorts, it's not just guitar shapes. So I'm glad that 2 years on, this tier list actually looks quite a bit different. Guitars have moved up, guitars have moved down, but overall I'm really happy with how this looks. Please do let me know how your guitar tier list looks if you decide to play along. Feel free to link images or just type out what your favourite guitars were and where they landed in the tier list. But yeah, there we go. I am going to continue to try and ride this momentum that I've been gifted. A sequel is in the works. I have a handful of guitars. I'm going to try for another 25. Obviously, we've done the big 25 here, so the guitar shapes that we'll have in the sequel are going to be probably a lot more wacky looking. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed, then feel free to check out some of my other videos. Subscribe to stick around, but apart from that, goodbye.